Welcome to our deep dive into Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. It's a really fascinating exploration by Héctor García and Francesc Miralles.
It really is.
If you've ever wondered, what drives people to live these incredibly long, vibrant lives, or maybe you're just searching for a bit more meaning in your own day-to-day, well, this book, it offers a truly captivating journey.
Definitely. And we're going to unpack its core themes today, look at some surprising lessons, and really get into the powerful ideas that make this book so insightful.
So what kind of book are we talking about here? It's not just self-help, is it?
No, not exactly. It's more of a blend, really. It combines lifestyle observation, a bit of practical philosophy, some psychological insights, and definitely health wisdom. It draws heavily from Japanese culture, as the title suggests.
Right, like a guided tour almost.
That's a good way to put it. A tour revealing the secrets of people who've mastered living well for, well, a very long time. Our mission today is basically to grab all the key nuggets from the source material.
The good stuff.
Exactly. The essential concepts, the compelling facts, the advice you can actually use, and distill it all for you. Think of it as your shortcut to understanding what this Ikigai thing is all about and why it seems so deeply connected to living longer and, importantly, living happier.
Okay, let's unpack this. The book kicks off right away with this idea, Ikigai. It calls it an almost mysterious word at first, but then it simplifies it pretty quickly. It's basically your reason we get up in the morning. Simple as that.
Simple, but incredibly profound when you think about it. That driving force that gives your day purpose right from the start.
It's no accident this comes from Japan, right?
Yeah.
A place known for longevity.
Absolutely not. The book makes that connection immediately, and it zeroes in on one place in particular, the island of Okinawa.
Okinawa, yeah. I remember seeing some crazy stats about that place.
You probably did. The book shares this one. For every 100,000 people in Okinawa, there are roughly 24.5 people over the age of 100.
Wow, 24.55. That's way higher than most places, isn't it?
Dramatically higher than the global average, yes. It really makes you stop and think, what are they doing differently?
Exactly. And the authors didn't just read studies. They went deeper, right, to a specific town.
They did. They zoomed in on Ogimi, which is this rural town on the northern end of Okinawa. The book calls it the Village of Longevity.
The Village of Longevity. I like that.
It reportedly boasts the highest life expectancy in the world. And crucially, the authors actually traveled there. They immersed themselves, talked to the centenarians, trying to uncover these secrets firsthand.
So they went straight to the source. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they wanted to know, is this Ikigai concept really the secret sauce? How does having this purpose keep people so active and vibrant well past 100 sometimes? What are their secrets? It sets the stage for moving from this interesting idea to a real-world investigation.
Okay, so moving beyond the mysterious word part, how does the book actually explain Ikigai in practical terms? I know there's often a diagram associated with it.
Right, the Venn diagram. Although the text we're drawing from doesn't show the diagram itself, it definitely describes the components that make it up. It's presented as the intersection, where four things meet.
Okay, what are the four?
It's the intersection of what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and, importantly, what you can be paid for or maybe sustained by is a better way to think about it sometimes.
Ah, okay. So it's where your passion, your skills, your sense of contribution, and maybe practical reality all come together.
Precisely. Finding that sweet spot is finding your reason for being, as the book puts it. It's not just about having a job or even a passion project. It's something deeper.
Something that brings, what did the book say? Satisfaction, happiness, meaning.
Satisfaction, happiness, and meaning to our lives, yes. And one of the first really powerful takeaways they highlight from their time in Okinawa is this almost provocative idea. Whatever you do, don't retire.
Don't retire. That goes against everything we're usually told.
I know. But it's less a command and more an observation. In Japanese culture, especially among these Okinawan elders, there isn't really this concept of just stopping, completely stopping activity.
So they keep working. Or doing something.
They stay active, they contribute, they engage. The book makes a really compelling case that this continuous activity driven by their Ikigai might actually be more important for their longevity than even their famous diet.
More important than diet.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a bold claim. We hear so much about diet for health.
It is bold, and it really challenges that Western idea of retirement as the ultimate goal, doesn't it? The idea that the finish line is, Well, inactivity.
It absolutely does. So
Do
this
that-
active purpose. Okay, now the book also talks about other places with long-living people, these blue zones.
Yes, exactly. It broadens the lens a bit there. Blue zones are these specific geographic areas identified by researchers where people consistently live the longest and often the healthiest lives.
And Okinawa is one of them.
Okinawa is one. The book lists 4 others. Sardinia in Italy, Loma Linda in California, surprisingly, the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica, and Icaria in Greece.
Huh. Loma Linda, California. Interesting. But Sardinia, Nicoya, Icaria. Those sound like islands, along with Okinawa.
That's a great observation the book points out, too. 3 out of the 5 are islands.
Is there a reason for that, do they think?
Well, the book suggests it might point to some shared characteristics. Maybe resource scarcity historically pushed people towards cooperation and stronger community bonds. Or perhaps the physical isolation helped maintain traditional lifestyles and mutual support systems.
So maybe on islands, your Ikigai is naturally tied more closely to helping your community because you kind of have to rely on each other.
That seems to be part of the idea, yes. Your personal purpose becomes intertwined with the well-being of the group, which leads really nicely into the common factors found across all the blue zones.
Okay, what are those?
The book highlights 4 keys that scientists have identified. First is diet, often plant-forward, moderate calories. Second is exercise, but not necessarily intense workouts, more like constant natural movement.
Like we were just saying about staying active.
Exactly. Third is finding a purpose in life, which the book basically equates to Ikigai. And fourth is forming strong social ties, that vital network of friends, family, community.
Purpose, movement, community, nourishment.
Yeah.
Got it. Those 4 pillars seem to form the foundation.
They really do. And from that foundation, the book then dives into the more, let's say, tactical side of things, the physical and mental habits for, well, what they call anti-aging.
Anti-aging. Okay, how do we fight off getting old, according to the book?
It starts with that classic Latin saying, mens sana in corpore sano.
A sound mind in a sound body.
Precisely. It underscores that deep link between physical and mental well-being. You can't really separate them.
So keeping your mind sharp is just as important as keeping your body fit.
Just as vital, the book argues, for staying young in spirit and function. It explains the why, quite simply. If you don't stimulate your brain, like a muscle, it deteriorates. The connections between neurons weaken.
Your brain goes on autopilot. Lazy brain.
Kind of, yeah. It becomes less efficient. The book mentions neuroscientist Shlomo Bresnitz, who argues we need to constantly stimulate our brains, confront them with new things.
New information, new situations.
Exactly. To break those ingrained habits, snap us out of that mental autopilot. It's not just about trivia, it's about adapting, learning, navigating novelty.
And does this actually work? Is there proof?
Well, the source points to scientific evidence showing benefits like better reaction time, improved memory, overall better cognitive function. The book notes that while our neurons technically start aging from our 20s...
20s, ouch.
I know, but that process can be slowed down significantly through intellectual activity, staying curious, wanting to learn.
Okay, so what are the practical tips, the anti-aging strategies for the mind?
The book lists several good ones. Actively dealing with new situations. Learning something new every day doesn't have to be huge. Playing games that make you think, interacting with people regularly, and consciously cultivating a positive outlook.
Keep the brain busy, flexible, and positive. Makes sense.
It's all about engagement. Now, shifting to the body, the book makes another really important distinction about movement.
Okay, what's that?
It emphasizes that the longest living people they studied aren't necessarily the marathon runners or the gym fanatics. They're the ones who simply move the most throughout their day.
Ah, so it's about consistency, not intensity.
Exactly. Consistent, often low intensity, movement woven into the fabric of everyday life.
And the flip side, sitting around.
The book is blunt about that. A lot of sitting will age you. Period.
Doesn't pull any punches there.
No. It links being sedentary for long periods to a whole host of problems. Hypertension, obesity, heart disease, osteoporosis, even some cancers.
Wow. How does sitting do all that?
They mention it's even linked to messing with your telomeres, those protective caps on your chromosomes. Damaged telomeres mean your cells age faster.
Yikes. Okay, so we need to move more. What are the actionable tips here? How do we counter the sitting disease?
The book offers really practical advice drawn from the centenarians and research. Simple things like choosing to walk more, taking stairs, finding social activities that involve movement dancing, walking groups, whatever you enjoy.
Making healthier food choices can help too, right? Less snacking time means less sitting time.
That's a clever point they make, yes. Also, getting enough sleep is mentioned. Playing actively with kids or pets, engaging in sports or hobbies you like. But maybe the biggest one is just becoming conscious of your routines. Noticing where you're sedentary and finding small ways to replace that with movement.
Be mindful of your movement or lack thereof.
Exactly. And the book also points to Eastern practices as great ways to build in gentle movement and balance.
Like yoga, tai chi.
Yes, yoga, qigong, tai chi, even shiatsu massage is mentioned. They give a nice example of radio taiso.
Radio taiso. What's that?
It's the simple, low-intensity group exercise routine that's really common in Japan, especially in the mornings in parks. It focuses on gentle joint mobility, moving your body through its range of motion. They describe a simple movement, like just raising your arms overhead and stretching.
So really gentle stuff.
Very gentle and often done together, which adds that social element too. It's about incorporating mindful movement, not just pushing yourself hard. They also briefly mention breathing exercises, like the 6 healing sounds, connecting breath and body.
Okay, mind, body. What else is key for anti-aging? Stress seems like a big one.
Huge. The book is very clear. Chronic stress is a major enemy of longevity. It's accused of killing longevity and causing premature aging.
How does it do that? What's the mechanism?
They detail the body's stress response. You know, the alarm goes off, pituitary gland kicks in, corticotropin, sympathetic nervous system, adrenal glands pumping out adrenaline and cortisol.
Fight or flight.
Exactly. That system was brilliantly designed for our cave-dweller ancestors to deal with immediate, intense, but short-lived dangers, or to face big challenges.
But our stress isn't usually like that now, is it?
Not often. The book contrasts that with modern humans. We trigger that same powerful response, but often with constant low-dose stressors. Endless emails, phone alerts, packed schedules, social media drama. Our bodies perceive these as threats.
So we're stuck in a low-grade fight or flight all the time.
That's the danger. It can lead to chronic activation, adrenal fatigue, things the body just isn't designed to handle long-term. And according to the source, this chronic stress directly damages healthy cells and promotes premature aging.
Okay, so managing stress isn't just about feeling better mentally, it's biologically important. How do we do it?
Mindfulness is presented as a key method. Learning to focus inward. Notice your responses, physical tension, racing thoughts without judging them, and grounding yourself in the here and now.
Getting out of your head, basically. Stopping the worry spiral.
Exactly. Techniques like meditation, focused breathing, yoga, body scans are all mentioned as practical ways to cultivate this. They share an anecdote from someone named Roberto Elcebar about needing to turn off our mental autopilot.
Right, like when you eat snacks watching TV and don't even taste them.
Precisely. We're not even present in our own lives sometimes, letting stress and unconscious habits run the show. Mindfulness helps us regain control.
But is all stress bad? Sometimes a deadline helps, right?
That's a really interesting nuance the book brings up. It actually says, a little stress is good for you.
Oh, how so?
It mentions a study by Dr. Howard S. Friedman, a long-term one, which found that people who experienced low levels of stress, like facing challenges, putting effort into work they cared about, actually tended to live longer.
Wait, so challenge is good.
The idea isn't that the stress itself is inherently healthy, but maybe that navigating challenges effectively helps people develop healthier habits and a sense of purpose. They point to supercentenarians who lived intense lives and worked late into old age. It seems to be about the type of stress challenge versus chronic overwhelm and how we respond to it.
That makes sense. Having purpose, even if it involves effort. Okay, what about sleep? We touched on it briefly.
Sleep gets its own spotlight as a critical anti-aging tool. The book really emphasizes the hormone melatonin.
Melatonin, right, the sleep hormone.
Exactly. Our bodies produce it naturally in the dark when we sleep, and the book directly links sufficient melatonin levels to longevity.
Why is it so important? What does melatonin actually do?
The benefits listed in the source are pretty amazing. It strengthens the immune system, helps protect against cancer, promotes insulin production, might slow down Alzheimer's progression, helps prevent osteoporosis, and protects heart health. It's like your body's nighttime repair crew chief.
That's a lot. So we need good sleep for our repair crew to work.
Definitely. And here's the catch the book notes. Our natural melatonin production starts to decline after age 30.
Oh, great. Another thing that goes downhill after 30.
Yeah, but it underscores why consciously prioritizing enough quality sleep becomes even more important as we get older. We need to help our bodies compensate.
They have that anecdote about model sleeping loads before shows.
Right. Just to illustrate the visible, rejuvenating effects sleep has. It's not passive downtime, it's active repair and renewal.
Okay, so good sleep, manage stress, move naturally, keep the mind active. This leads nicely into the mental side, finding that purpose, the Ikigai itself.
Exactly. The book transitions into exploring how we find that meaning, drawing on some fascinating psychological approaches.
Like logotherapy, I think I've heard of that. Viktor Frankl.
That's the one. Viktor Frankl, the Austrian neurologist and psychiatrist. Logotherapy is his school of psychology, and its core idea is helping people discover their unique reasons to live, especially when facing suffering or hardship.
How does it differ from, say, traditional psychoanalysis?
Frankl famously contrasted them. He said in psychoanalysis, the patient lies down and tells you things, whereas in logotherapy, the patient sits up straight and has to listen to things that might help them find meaning. It's a more active, forward-looking approach.
So it's less about digging into the past and more about finding a future purpose.
Precisely. It's about using the discovery of meaning to confront neuroses, fuel motivation, break free from mental blocks, and overcome obstacles. Finding purpose becomes the engine for healing and growth.
Did Frankl find that people generally need this sense of purpose?
Very much so. The book mentions studies from his clinic where 80% of people felt humans needed a reason for living, and a significant number, 60%, felt they had something or someone they'd even die for. It highlights how fundamental the search for meaning is.
And what happens if you don't find it?
The book talks about existential frustration, that feeling of emptiness when life lacks purpose. This can escalate into an existential crisis, which they suggest is pretty common in modern societies.
Why modern society specifically?
The idea is that we often end up doing what others expect, or chasing external validation like money or pleasure, instead of figuring out what we truly want. This disconnect creates a void. They mentioned Sunday neurosis as an example.
Sunday neurosis? What's that?
That feeling of anxiety or aimlessness that can hit on weekends when the structure of work disappears and you're faced with unstructured time and maybe a lack of personal direction.
I think I know that feeling. Okay, so what are the core ideas of logotherapy to combat this?
Some key takeaways from the source. Meaning isn't something you invent, it's something you discover out in the world. Your reason for being is unique to you and can change over time. Trying too hard to force happiness or fulfillment, hyperintention, Frankl called it, can actually backfire. Humor is a powerful tool for perspective. And ultimately, it's our decisions and actions, not just our circumstances, that define us.
Can you give an example of how Frankl applied this? The book mentioned case studies.
Yes, two really powerful ones. One was a doctor grieving the death of his wife. Frankl helped him reframe his suffering by realizing that his enduring the pain meant she was spared the pain of losing him. His suffering gained a purpose, bearing it for her.
Wow, that's quite a perspective shift.
Isn't it? The other was a diplomat who felt stuck and unhappy, blaming his father. Frankl helped him see his real frustration wasn't the past, but his current inability to pursue his own intellectual and political passions because of his job. Finding the real source of the existential frustration was key.
So logotherapy helps you find that why that makes the how bearable or even meaningful.
Beautifully put. Discovering purpose fills that void and allows you to look back peacefully, knowing you lived for something.
Interestingly, the book mentions another therapy emerged around the same time in Japan, Morita therapy.
Yes, developed by Shomo Morita, who had a background in Zen Buddhism. It's also purpose-centered, but approaches it from a different angle.
How's it different from logotherapy or Western therapy generally?
The big difference is its stance on emotions. Instead of trying to analyze, control, or eliminate negative feelings or symptoms, Morita therapy says you should accept them completely.
Accept anxiety, accept sadness. How does that help?
The idea is that feelings are like the weather, they come and go, and you can't directly control them. Trying to fight them is futile, like trying to smooth out ocean waves. Feelings change naturally as a result of your actions, so the focus shifts entirely to taking action, doing what needs to be done despite how you feel.
Don't think, just do.
In a way, yes. Avoid intellectualizing the situation, as the book says. Don't get bogged down trying to figure out why you feel bad. Focus on constructive action in the present moment. Recovery comes through doing, not through introspection alone.
Okay, what are the core principles here?
4 main ones from the source. 1, accept your feelings. Observe them without judgment, like clouds passing. They mention a Thich Nhat Hanh quote, "Hello, solitude. Come, sit with me." Acceptance, not struggle. 2, do what you should be doing. Focus on your responsibilities and purposeful action right now. 3, mind and body are one. Act first, and your mind and feelings will eventually follow your body's lead. 4, live in the present. Don't dwell on the past or worry excessively about the future. Action can only happen now.
It sounds very action-oriented, almost behavioral.
It is. The book briefly mentions the stages of traditional Morita therapy involving periods of rest, then gradually increasing occupational therapy, which really highlights its practical focus on changing behavior and finding purpose through engagement with life, rather than just talking about problems.
And there was another related practice mentioned, Naikan meditation.
Right. Naikan is more about introspection, but aimed at cultivating responsibility and gratitude. It involves reflecting on 3 questions. What have I received from others? What have I given? And what troubles have I caused? It shifts the focus away from being a victim towards understanding your interconnectedness and impact.
Fascinating. So we have finding purpose through meaning, logotherapy, and finding it through action and acceptance, Morita. Where does the book go next?
It makes a perfect transition from the why of purpose to the how of experiencing joy in the process, the concept of flow.
Ah, flow. Csikszentmihalyi's work, right?
That's the one. Csikszentmihalyi, the psychologist who studied the state extensively.
How does the book define flow? It's that feeling of being in the zone.
Pretty much. The definition given is the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that people will do it even at great cost for the sheer sake of doing it.
Yeah, I know that feeling. You just lose yourself in it.
Exactly. Total immersion. Worries fade. You lose track of time. They use that Einstein relativity joke example. Your mind and body feel completely connected to the task. There's this sense of effortless action, clear goals, immediate feedback, feeling in control.
And the activity itself is the reward. You're not just doing to get it done.
Precisely. And that's why the book argues flow is so vital. It's a key ingredient for genuine happiness, for living your Ikigai. It's the optimal experience.
How does it compare to other kinds of pleasure?
It contrasts sharply with passive pleasures like overeating or binge-watching TV. Those might feel good momentarily, but they don't build lasting happiness or lead to personal growth in the same way flow does. Flow is active engagement.
And it's not just for artists or athletes, right?
Not at all. The book emphasizes that. Chess players, engineers, gardeners, cooks, anyone can experience flow in almost any activity. Csikszentmihalyi found it's universal across ages and cultures, from New York to Okinawa.
Okay, so the million-dollar question. How do we get into flow more often? What are the strategies?
The book outlines a few key ones, based on research like Owen Schaffer's model. The first one is crucial. Choose a difficult task, but not too difficult.
Finding that sweet spot.
Exactly. It has to be challenging enough to require your full attention and stretch your skills, but not so hard that you feel overwhelmed or anxious. Too easy, you get bored. Too hard, you get stressed and give up. It's that middle path, slightly outside your comfort zone.
They quote Hemingway.
Yeah, sometimes I write better than I can. That feeling of stretching beyond your perceived limits, it requires intense concentration, as Bertrand Russell also noted. Think learning a new software skill, mastering a tricky dance move, reading a challenging but understandable book.
Okay, challenge level is key. What's next?
Second, have a clear, concrete objective. Vague goals make it hard to focus. The book mentions a study where employees were frustrated by unclear missions. You need a compass pointing towards a specific outcome for that session or task.
Like a compass, not necessarily a detailed map.
Right, the compass over maps idea. Knowing the direction, but being flexible. Examples given are setting an objective for a work session, deciding how many words to write, defining a team goal, aiming for a specific tempo in music practice. Know what you're aiming for in this moment.
But don't obsess over the goal while you're doing it.
Crucial distinction, yes. Keep the objective in mind to provide direction, but once you start, focus entirely on the process, the task at hand. Let the outcome take care of itself.
Makes sense. Third strategy, this one feels very modern.
Concentrate on a single task. The book really hammers this point. Multitasking is basically a myth.
It's just switching back and forth really fast.
Exactly. And that switching costs energy, reduces focus, and tanks productivity. Trying to write while checking email, scrolling social media, not even noticing your food while watching TV, these things pull you out of potential flow states.
So, single tasking is essential, which leads naturally to the fourth point.
Being free from distractions. This is putting single tasking into practice. Turn off notifications, phone, email, everything. Use time blocks like the Pomodoro technique. Have rituals to start and end work. Train your mind to return to the present when it wanders. Meditation helps here. Find or create a quiet workspace. Break down big tasks. Bundle routine stuff together. Basically protect your focus.
Create the conditions for concentration. Okay, Now how does this idea of flow show up specifically in Japanese culture?
The book connects it to the concept of ganbaru.
Ganbaru.
Yeah, it means to persevere, to stay firm, to do your absolute best through diligent effort. It underlies that cultural emphasis on dedication and hard work, sometimes to an intense degree.
And this connects to the tekumi, the master artisan.
Perfectly. The takumi embodies this dedication. They've spent lifetimes mastering their craft, pottery, sword making, whatever it is, with incredible focus, precision, attention to detail, bordering on obsession sometimes.
Like the examples of the turntable needle makers or the kumano brush makers.
Exactly. People dedicated to preserving and perfecting highly specialized skills. And the story about Yukio Shakunaga, the porcelain artist, is fantastic.
The one Steve Jobs visited.
That's the one. Jobs was apparently captivated by his work, the Echu Seitoyaki technique. He bought pieces, visited multiple times, was fascinated by the whole process, even how Shakunaga got his own clay from the mountains. Shakunaga is presented as a true takumi. Jobs even requested teacups from him near the end of his life.
A meeting of dedicated minds.
Yep.
That's powerful. And Jiro Ono, the sushi master.
Another prime example from the book. Making sushi for 80-plus years, still personally selecting fish. The story of his apprentice practicing the egg omelet, the tamago, for years before getting Jiro's approval.
Years, just for an omelet.
Yes, it shows that intense dedication. For Jiro, making sushi is his ikigai. The repetitive, demanding tasks allow him deep flow. It's about the process, the enjoyment of the craft, maintaining quality over just expanding the business.
And this dedication, starting at the source, like Jiro at the fish market or Shakunaga in the mountains, the book connects that to Shintoism.
It does. To the Shinto idea of kami, the spirit residing in nature and objects. It reflects a Japanese ability to unite technology and nature, craft and material, becoming one with the object through deep focus and respect.
Hayao Miyazaki is mentioned too.
Yes, the Studio Ghibli director, his legendary dedication to drawing, working constantly, his films exploring themes of nature, technology, spirit, another clear example of someone living their ikigai through intense, focused work.
And the book points out this isn't just a Japanese thing. It mentions artists and scientists globally who work until they die.
Right, these recluses in their passion. Einstein, Christopher Plummer, Osamu Tezuka wanting to work on his deathbed, older artists like Carmen Herrera and Ellsworth Kelly still creating. Frank Gehry's patience. It reinforces that idea. If you love what you do, retirement isn't the goal. The work is the life.
And that T.H. White quote fits perfectly. The best thing in adversity is to learn. Keep engaging, keep growing.
Exactly. The longevity masters never stop learning.
But flow isn't just for geniuses or master artisans, right? Can we find it in everyday stuff?
Absolutely. The book introduces microflow, finding flow in mundane tasks.
Microflow? Like how?
They give the example of an elevator operator who turned pushing buttons into a graceful, enthusiastic performance. Or Richard Feynman doodling during boring lectures, or tackling simple office tasks with full engagement when taking a break from physics.
So it's about bringing presence and intention even to small things. Washing dishes, folding laundry.
Yes, you can find moments of absorption and satisfaction there too if you approach them with the right mindset. It encourages you to look for those opportunities in your own routine.
And rituals play a role in this.
A big role. The book argues humans are ritualistic. While modern life is goal-obsessed, traditional cultures often structure life around rituals for farming, cooking, religion. These rituals provide structure and opportunities for focused action.
So instead of just focusing on the goal, focus on the process, the ritual.
That's the principle. Rituals over goals. Enjoy the daily practices related to your work or passion. That focus helps you enter flow, and the book suggests the outcome, the goal, will come naturally as a result.
And that leads to the quote about the happiest people.
Not the ones who achieve the most. They're the ones who spend more time than others in a state of flow. It's about the quality of your moment-to-moment experience.
Wow. Okay. And finally, can flow help you actually find your ikigai if you're unsure what it is?
Yes, the book suggests using flow as a diagnostic tool. Make a list of activities that reliably put you in flow. Then analyze the list. What do they have in common? Are they physical, mental, solitary, social? Why do these activities work for you?
And the answers might point towards your underlying ikigai.
Exactly. They reveal your natural inclinations, skills, and sources of deep engagement. If it's not immediately clear, the advice is to keep exploring, do more flow activities, or try related new things. Flow becomes your guide.
That's a really practical approach. Okay, so from flow, the book brings us back to the wisdom of the elders themselves, right? The supercentenarians.
Yes, people aged 110 and over, a very rare group.
What did these super-agers have to say? Any secrets shared?
The book shares some brief insights. Misawa Kawa, 117, said, Eat and sleep and you'll live a long time. You have to learn to relax. Maria Capovilla, 116, never ate meat, loved dancing. Jean Calment, 122, the oldest verified person, just said everything's fine, apparently enjoyed life. Walter Bruning, 114, ate only 2 meals a day. Alexander Imich didn't drink alcohol and just quipped, I just haven't died yet.
Huh. So a mix of things. Relax, eat well, maybe skip meat or booze, keep moving, enjoy life. No single magic formula, it seems.
No, but maybe underlying themes of moderation, activity, and a certain life attitude. But the real gold comes from the more detailed interviews the authors did in Ogimi, the village of longevity.
Okay, what were the key lessons synthesized from those Okinawan elders?
Several key themes emerged clearly. First, and we've hit this hard already, stay active, don't retire. Keep working, keep moving. A Japanese proverb quoted is, only staying active will make you want to live 100 years. One elder said simply, if you don't work, your body breaks down. Keeping your hands busy keeps your mind sharp.
Purposeful activity. Got it. What's second?
Cultivate good habits. Daily routines are important. Waking up early, tending their gardens, many called gardening their Ikigai, doing their gentle exercises like Taisu, eating a variety of foods, remembering their ancestors. These routines provide a healthy structure.
Third.
Hugely important. Nurture your friendships every day. Social connection is everything. They talk about moai, these lifelong support groups, and yuimaru, the spirit of community cooperation.
Friends are medicine.
The best medicine, as the book says one elder called them. Getting together with my friends is my most important ikigai, said another. Daily chats, drinking tea together, singing, these things are vital.
Okay, number 4.
Live an unhurried life. Consciously slow down. Elders advise saying, slow down and relax. Work calmly, do one thing at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. It's about living peacefully and enjoying the small things, not constant rushing.
And 5th.
Be optimistic. Face challenges with a positive attitude. One elder shared her daily affirmation. Today will be full of health and energy. Live it to the fullest. Studies link this positive outlook and emotional awareness to longevity. It's a kind of stoicism, finding serenity, which lowers stress.
Stay active, good habits, friends, slow down, be optimistic. Powerful stuff straight from the source.
Yeah.
This optimism ties into resilience, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The ability to bounce back. The book uses that great Japanese proverb, fall 7 times, rise 8.
It's not about not falling.
It's about getting back up. And the book explores philosophies like Buddhism and Stoicism as ways to build this emotional resilience.
How does Stoicism help?
By teaching you to focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your reactions, your choices, and accept what you can't control, like external events or other people. The goal is tranquility, apatheia, freedom from destructive, negative emotions.
They mention negative visualization. Sounds negative.
It sounds counterintuitive, but it's about imagining loss, losing your health, possessions, loved ones, not to be morbid, but to appreciate what you have right now and to be mentally prepared if loss does occur. Reflecting without worrying, as Seneca advised.
In Buddhism, how does that contribute to resilience?
Through practices like meditation, which helps you become aware of your desires and emotions without being controlled by them. Observing thoughts and feelings non-judgmentally, letting them pass like clouds. Both philosophies emphasize accepting reality and focusing your energy on your own response. Like Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters.
Accepting what is and focusing on the present moment.
Exactly. The present is the only time you can act, the only reality you truly inhabit. Thich Nhat Hanh. The only moment you can be truly alive is the present moment.
And the book brings in some beautiful Japanese concepts here. Wabi-sabi.
Yes, wabi-sabi. Finding beauty in imperfection, impermanence, incompletion. Unlike the Western focus on perfect symmetry, wabi-sabi appreciates the cracked teacup, the weathered wood. It accepts the transient nature of things.
Like the Ai's shrine being rebuilt every 20 years. Preserving the tradition, not the exact building.
A perfect example, it embodies acceptance of impermanence.
And the other concept, Ichigo Ichi.
Ichigo Ichi. Roughly, this moment exists only now and won't come again. A powerful reminder to treasure every encounter, every experience, because it's unique and fleeting. You see it in tea ceremonies, martial arts, be fully present.
So wabi-sabi helps you accept that things change and end. And Ichigo Ichi encourages you to fully engage with the present while it's here.
Beautifully summarized. Accepting impermanence reduces suffering from loss, and treasuring the present fills it with possibility, especially when pursuing your Ikigai.
Now, building on resilience, there's this idea of anti-fragility. from Nassim Taleb.
Right. It goes beyond just bouncing back resilience or resisting harm, robustness. Anti-fragility means actually gaining strength from shocks, stress, disorder, like the Hydra myth cut off one head to grow back stronger.
So how do we become more like the Hydra and less like fragile glass?
Taleb's ideas, as presented in the book, offer strategies. First, have more than one basket. Don't be overly reliant on one income source, one relationship, one interest. Diversify. The Ogimi elders often had vegetable gardens alongside other work. If one thing fails, you have others, and might even strengthen those alternatives.
Makes sense. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Second,
Get rid of things that make you fragile. This is subtraction, not addition. Identify and remove habits, dependencies, relationships, or situations that consistently cause problems or make you vulnerable. Removing the negative makes you inherently stronger than just adding supposed positives.
like cutting out toxic influences or bad habits, rather than just making a new resolution you might not keep.
Exactly. Third, make small bets. Take risks where the potential upside is large, but the downside is limited and survivable. This lets you benefit from randomness and opportunity without risking ruin. Reading diverse books, trying low-cost hobbies, starting small side projects.
So anti-fragility welcomes a bit of randomness and challenge.
It sees hits and volatility as potential opportunities for learning and growth. Taleb is quoted saying we need some randomness and adventure. Combined with wabi-sabi and ichigo-ichii, a clear Ikigai helps you navigate this messy, imperfect, but ultimately richer life.
Okay, that's a powerful mindset. Let's loop back to the physical side again, the Okinawan diet. This is a big piece of the longevity puzzle, right?
Definitely presented as a key pillar, alongside Ikigai, movement, and social ties.
So what are the defining features of this miracle diet?
Variety is huge. Okinawans eat, on average, over 18 different foods daily. Lots of herbs, spices, think eat the rainbow.
Lots of fruits and veggies.
Foundational. At least 5, ideally 7 different types daily. Lots of vegetables, potatoes, especially purple sweet potatoes, legumes, soy, like tofu. Over 30% of their calories come just from vegetables.
What about grains, carbs,
Grains are a staple, mainly white rice daily, sometimes noodles.
and sugar, meat?
Very little sugar, usually unrefined cane sugar, if any. Fish about 3 times a week. Pork is the main meat, but only eaten maybe once or twice a week, much less than elsewhere.
And this makes a difference.
Studies cited show Okinawans eat way less sugar than mainland Japan and have very low BMIs compared to, say, the US. So yes, it seems to contribute significantly to their health.
But maybe the most famous principle is hara hachibu.
Ah, yes, hara hachibu. Crucial. It means eat until you are 80% full.
80%? How do you even know?
It means stopping when you start to feel satisfied, before you feel truly full or stuffed. Finishing the meal feeling still a little bit hungry.
Why is that so important?
The simple biological reason seems to be that eating less caloric restriction is linked to longer lifespan in many studies. Eating less puts less stress on the body.
And the way they serve meals helps with this. Small plates.
Exactly. Lots of small dishes. It looks like a feast, feels like you're eating a lot, but the total quantity is controlled, making it easier to stop before you're overfull. The book also mentions intermittent fasting as another way to achieve similar benefits.
Okay, are there specific superfoods in the Okinawan diet? Antioxidants.
Yes, several are highlighted. Sanpancha, that jasmine and green tea blend, is huge. It's linked to lower cholesterol, better immunity, stress relief. They drink about 3 cups a day.
Green tea itself is powerful too, right?
Absolutely. Credited with all sorts of benefits: cancer risk reduction, cholesterol control, circulation, flu protection, the list goes on. White tea is mentioned as possibly even more potent due to high polyphenol content. 1 cup of white tea compared to 12 glasses of orange juice for antioxidants.
Wow. And that citrus fruit, shikuasa.
Yes, very prominent in Okinawa, especially ogimi. Extremely acidic, usually diluted. Tastes like lime meets mandarin orange. Its power comes from nobiletin.
Nobiletin.
A flavonoid, super rich in antioxidants, supposedly 40 times more than oranges. Linked to protecting against artery hardening, cancer, diabetes, obesity, plus vitamins and minerals. They use it in everything: juice, cooking, even cake.
So they get antioxidants from tea, fruit, very naturally. The book also gave a list for Westerners.
It did, an antioxidant canon. Broccoli, charred, oily fish, citrus, berries, dried fruits, oats, olive oil, even red wine in moderation. And foods to avoid: refined sugars and grains, processed stuff, cow's milk products. Focus on whole natural foods.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Purpose, mind, body, flow, resilience, diet. How does the book tie it all together?
It comes back to Ikigai as the art of living. It's not just one thing, but the integration of all these elements. They mentioned Mitsuo Ida, the calligrapher poet, who lived his Ikigai, advising, keep going, don't change your path.
So pursuing your Ikigai brings meaning and helps you find that state of flow.
Exactly. Everyone's Ikigai is different, but the search for meaning is universal. And importantly, the book stresses, life is not a problem to be solved.
Meaning, don't stress too much about finding the perfect Ikigai right away.
Precisely. It's more about the process, staying busy with things you love, surrounded by people you love. Let the Ikigai emerge from that engagement with life.
And finally, the book summarizes everything into 10 rules.
Yes. The 10 rules of Ikigai, distilled from the centenarians and all the concepts, they're like the key takeaways.
Let's quickly run through them as a final recap. Rule 1.
Stay active, don't retire. Keep moving, keep engaging, driven by purpose.
Rule 2.
Slow down, live unhurriedly, leave urgency behind, enjoy the journey.
Rule 3.
Don't fill your stomach, harahachibu. Eat moderately for health and longevity.
Rule 4.
Surround yourself with good friends. Cultivate your social connections, your moai. Friends are essential.
Rule 5.
Get in shape for your next birthday. Consistent, gentle exercise. Daily movement. Stay physically capable.
Rule 6.
Smile. Cultivate positivity. Ease social connections. Approach life with openness.
Rule 7.
Reconnect with nature. Spend time outdoors. Recharge your batteries. Appreciate the natural world.
Rule 8.
Give thanks. Practice gratitude for food, nature, people, life itself.
Rule 9.
Live in the moment. Embrace ichigo-ichi and wabi-sabi. Focus on the present. Let go of past and future worries.
And the big one, Rule 10.
Follow your Ikigai. Discover and nurture your unique reason for being. Let it guide you.
Wow. That really brings it all together. So to sum up this deep dive, Ikigai presents this really beautiful, holistic view. A long, happy life isn't just one magic bullet.
Not at all. It's this weave of purpose, staying active in mind and body, eating well, nurturing relationships, finding flow, building resilience, embracing the present, and accepting imperfection.
These lessons, drawn from Japanese wisdom and watching people live extraordinarily long lives, they feel very applicable, don't they? Powerful ideas for anyone.
Definitely. If this overview sparked your interest, digging into the book itself will offer even more depth and nuance. It's a rewarding read.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with, something to ponder from all this.
As you go about your day, maybe ask yourself, what is your reason for getting up tomorrow? What specific activity or connection or even simple ritual gives your day meaning right now? Or maybe what could give it meaning if you paid a bit more attention? Something to reflect on.